According to Albert Einstein, we cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. My name is Corinna Stoffel, and I'm the host of Toward a New World. The world seems to be falling apart. Are you as frustrated as I am with the talk about how to fix things or what needs to change, yet nothing changes? In the episodes, I invite people to look from different perspectives, sometimes even contrary to the current points of view. My intention is to evoke a different level of consciousness by empowering listeners to explore what is true for them and begin to live their lives from that place, thus changing their lives and through it, the world. If this appeals to you, I ask you to subscribe to the podcast on this channel.
Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I am finishing, this is the last episode of a year. And I would not have thought when I started that I would last a full year. So let's discuss, what are you choosing? Living or dying? Interesting juxtaposition. And I want to bring even a third word, alive. For me, alive means that you're physically living, yet you're living from autopilot. You have the same routine every day of the week, and maybe even a similar routine when you go on vacation. Living means to really be fully engaged with life, that you go on your kind of adventures. And that can be for a younger person to go rock climbing, bungee jumping, making an extreme hike, or for an older person to start a new hobby. But being engaged with life, enjoying life, and having fun. And then there is death. Have you known that for many, many people, myself included, death is a backdoor or has been a backdoor? I did not come across that concept until about 15 years ago, when someone told me, stop dying. And I was sort of like, what the heck do you mean? I'm not dying. Yet I was willing to contemplate what the person meant. And what in conversation and my own contemplation, I found out that so many of us have death as a backdoor. What do I mean with that? It's sort of like having the attitude that if things don't work out, I can always check out. And checking out can be active in the form of suicide. It can be passive in the sort of running down your body. So it'll, you won't survive. You'll get sick, and then at some point you die. And death as a backdoor has side effects. Not only are you not engaged in life, you're not living, you are alive, if you catch what I mean with that. But it's also, you don't perceive possibilities because you're not really interested in living. You stop creating. You the word that just came for me is you become a couch potato. And that doesn't, I don't mean this necessarily literally, but it symbolizes the fact that you are not engaged with life. And for me, in my own experience back then, when I was told stop dying, I realized that in a way I had death as a backdoor. And if I look at my life since then, I can it identify at least one other time where I had death as a backdoor. And it really has its effects. And both times, first time and then the next time after a few years, when I realized, wait a second, that back door that I thought I had closed is open again. I asked the question, so what would happen if I close it? And what do I need to do to close the back door? To not have it as an option. And it really means that I have to go and make a choice. And initially, it is definitely a choice on a daily basis. I'm going to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to be engaged in that. And lately, for the last, hard to say because things blend, but let's say a minimum of 6 months, definitely a year, I have been engaged with life again. And that engagement, in a way, shows that happens when we have a purpose, when there is a sense that the present, being present in life, being able to contribute to not only my life, but also to the lives of other people, has a big impact on that. And it also means being creative. Because if I want to have an impact on other people's lives, how am I going to go about that? So there is that. And I remember the first time I closed the back door, my life really started to change. And it's not necessarily easy to describe how exactly it changed, but I could feel the shift, the energetic shift of having made that decision that I was not going to check out if life didn't happen the way I wanted. And there is one big factor that also plays into having death as a backdoor, that it is an indirect way of controlling life. Not just we feel, but we're almost told that we need to be in control of our life. We need to make decisions, we need to pre-plan this, that, and the other has to happen. And if it doesn't, then we're not doing our job. But all of those things boil down to being in control. So living is an action. It's a choice on a daily basis. But it's also the willingness to receive, the willingness to listen, the willingness to be connected to something that is bigger than me. It's not just me and myself. There is more. And the question that I have is, what if God created each one of us to have a playmate in the sandbox of creation? What if we are not the peons that so often religion tells us that we are? Just contemplate that. Be with that. Are you willing to even allow that thought into your world and be with it? Or is it that God and a human could be on the same level in some sense? Is that so heretic that you don't even want to go there? What if? What if? If we have death as our backdoor, are we going to actualize any dreams that we have? What are we dreaming about for our life, for the life of our family, the extended family? What do we dream about touching other people's lives? What if? And if we can't actualize our dreams, how much do we get frustrated? And how much does that frustration shift eventually into depression? And how often does depression end up in suicide? Food for thought. Are you willing to be with those thoughts? And are you willing to honestly look at the way you live? For me, it made it that honest look made it possible to recognize that I had death as a backdoor. Not that it was any easy or, that I enjoyed it. No, it was pretty almost momentarily depressing and disappointing that that was the fact. But without that honest look and the awareness of something being the case, I cannot make any changes. I will just continue to repeat what I have been doing. So it requires that vulnerability to acknowledge the choices that we are making, we have been making, and to ask the question is, so what other choices do I have available? What other choices do I want to make? And through that becoming aware, we can change our life and we can change other people's lives. We have an impact. We have way more of an impact than we often acknowledge. And it's not that there is a big fanfare, but just consider the fact that you impact one other person, and that person, because of your impact, impacts another person, who impacts another person, who impacts another person. Can you see the ripples that are going out? How much impact do we have? And how much do we want to be conscious of that impact and actually choose the kind of impact that we make? And or have the intention to make a certain impact. It takes the other person to receive what we put out towards them that creates eventually the impact. And I don't have a control over what the other person is willing to take in. But I can have an intention with how I'm behaving, what I'm saying, And hopefully it'll create that ripple effect. And it'll create a global ripple effect. Are you willing to be that big? Food for thought. Let's leave it at that. And I wish you the best until next week. Take care. And I'm curious what we're going to talk about.